Members of the Dutchess County Association of Realtors. We have a special guest today to help us get through this coming election. And most of us really don't understand what was really going on. So we invited Erik Haight to, was one of the two commissions of elections for Dutchess County, to help us answer some of the questions that are going on. I also have on this Patty Hohmann, my vice chair of the Government Affairs Committee, and John Greenan. And Erik, take it away.
Thanks, Fred, and appreciate the invitation. Thanks to John and Patty Hohmann for having me on. It's definitely an unusual year. It's an unprecedented year. So every 10 years after the census is completed, the law requires that all the different levels of government take part in the reapportionment process. So reapportionment happens at the congressional level, state senate level, state assembly level, and then the county legislatures and any municipalities with wards should be reapportioning so that every member of the legislative body represents essentially the same amount of people, not necessarily voters, which is why the census data is used to redraw the lines, realign them every 10 years to allow for population shifts so that everybody has essentially equal representation. So this can be confusing every 10 years. Now, in particular to this year, it's extra confusing because the congressional lines, state senate and assembly lines were deemed to be invalid because the state legislature was caught gerrymandering those districts. Gerrymandering is when you draw the lines with a political motivation to protect incumbents and to squeeze out a certain party from equal representation. So the situation we're in this year with three election days. There's the June primary, where we held statewide primaries, along with assembly primaries and local primaries. So through the litigation process, every level of court in New York State, first at the Supreme Court level, which is the lowest court, then at the appellate division, which is the next court up, and then there's the Court of Appeals. The State Court of Appeals is the top state in the state of New York. All three levels of the judiciary determined that the majority in the New York State legislature gerrymandered the congressional, assembly, and senate lines, and they were thrown out. And so the court then established an additional primary in August to allow for state senators and congressional candidates to run on lines that the court deems legal. And so the term special master was established by the court, and a special master came in and drew the lines fairly. So there's the old lines that were established in 2012. Those had expired because of the new census. The new lines were then established by the court, and that's what all the various candidates are running on this August 23rd that have a primary. August 23rd, there is a primary for Senate and Congress, and early voting for that event starts August 13th. It goes for 9 straight days until the 21st. There's then no voting on the 22nd, that's the Monday, and then there's the election on the 23rd. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. across the state. Now, an added wrinkle this year to make things even more confusing for voters and administrators of the election is that there are 2 congressional vacancies. So Tom Reed resigned from Congress, and Antonio Delgado resigned from Congress when he was selected to be Kathy Hochul's running mate as lieutenant governor. The law requires, when there's a vacancy in Congress, that the governor must call a special election. She, within a certain window. She chose August 23rd as the day to fill those vacancies in those 2 congressional districts. Happens to be the same day as the primary. So the special elections for those 2 congressional districts, and specific to our area, is the 19th congressional district. So we will be running a special election to fill the 19th district based on the old lines, because the vacancy is occurring in the Delgado seat as it exists today, and that seat will cease to exist December 31st because the new congressional lines take effect January 1st. So simultaneously, we will be running a primary, a Republican primary for the 17th congressional district, a Democrat primary for the 18th congressional district, and then the special election for the 19th congressional district. Even though the 19th congressional district will not exist in January, the law requires that the governor call that special election. Now, an added wrinkle, again, for everyone's confusion, is the old 19th district overlaps in certain areas with the new 17th and the new 18th congressional districts. So in a special election where everyone is eligible to vote, that is registered to vote, irrespective of their party affiliation. So a special election is essentially a general election held on a different day. So everyone is eligible. You can get an absentee, you can vote early, again, that event occurs on August 23rd. In New York, we have a closed primary system. So in the 17th congressional district, only Republicans, registered Republicans can vote. And then in the 18th congressional district, only registered Democrats can vote in that particular district. There is no Democratic primary in the 17th district, and there is no Republican primary in the 18th district. Another confusing element to this election is that currently in the 19th district, in the special election, the candidates are Pat Ryan, the Democrat. He's the county executive from Ulster County, and the Republican is the Dutchess County executive, Marcus Molinaro. Now, because these are 2 different events, separate events that are happen to be occurring on the same day, Pat Ryan is eligible to run in both the old 19th and the new 18th. So Democrats that go to vote that live in those areas, the old 19 and the new 18, are eligible to vote in both elections and will be given 2 ballots. One, Pat Ryan versus Marcus in the old 19, and the other, Pat Ryan versus the other 2 Democrats in the new 18. And then there's I believe 3 Republicans running in the new 17th district. So whomever prevails in the new 19th, in the old 19th district in the special election, they're only filling that Delgado vacancy for the remainder of this year. Now, interestingly, our county executive in Dutchess County, they moved the 19th district effective in January out of Dutchess County. So should Marcus prevail in November, he'll end up moving into the new 19th district, which is essentially either Ulster or Columbia County are the 2 areas closest to where he currently lives. And then whomever prevails in the 18th congressional primary will be running against Colin Schmidt, who's currently in the New York State Assembly, but he's running for the new 18th district. Then in the 17th district, the incumbent Democrat is Sean Patrick Maloney. And that's, I'm sorry, and that's in the 17th district as well. I neglected to mention that there is a Democratic primary in the new 17. State Senator Biaggi is running against Sean Patrick Maloney in that Democratic primary. We obviously don't know who's going to win those. So it'll be whoever prevails in the Republican primary, and the Democratic primary will be running against each other in November in the new 17. The new 18 will be whomever wins the primary versus Colin Schmidt. And then Marcus has qualified to be on the ballot in the new 19th, again in November, and there is a Democratic primary in the new 19th between two Democratic candidates. So there's a lot going on at once. And I wanted to pause there to allow for any questions that you folks may have so far that I may have glossed over as to how we got here with reapportionment. Reapportionment is the function of shifting the boundaries of these districts so that every legislator represents the same number of people. Redistricting is something that occurs at the Board of Elections level, which has very little impact on the voters.
Well, I do have a question because it is still very confusing.
Yes.
All right, the basic question is, I live in Dutchess County. Who do I know when I go in to vote on August 23rd? Who is running at that point in time? Am I going to know before I go in and be handed a ballot?
Yes. So I would say we're talking right now on August 3rd. By August 10th, each of the county boards of elections will have sample ballots on their websites. So you can go to the Dutchess County Board of Elections website or the Ulster County Board of Elections website, wherever your membership may live, and they can look up their sample ballot based on where they live. So Fred, I don't know your party affiliation and I don't know where you live, but so if you are a Democrat that lives in the old 19 and the new 18, then you would be eligible for both ballots. Anybody can vote in the special election, but only members of the party can vote in a primary election. So it's unique to your situation, where you live, and your party affiliation as to who you can vote for.
And what do I put in my address to find out who I can vote for if I go to the Dutchess County Board of Elections?
So what you would do is we list them by town, and then you can go to your town, click on the town, and the sample ballot will show up for your particular town. To add another wrinkle to this very confusing election cycle, the unfortunate thing is that when the special master drew the new lines, he cut across towns. So the election district that you live in is specific to the ballot that you receive. So the easiest thing to do is to call the office, tell them your name, address, and we will look up your election district, and we will tell you exactly what election district you live in and then who will be on your ballot. All our contact information is on our website. You can call, email, if you're confused by any of the information that's on the website.
All right.
Eric,
Okay.
can you just tell them what the website is, please?
Sure. Yep. It's actually just changed our domain name. So it's elections.dutchessny.gov is our website. Elections, plural, .dutchessny.gov. And then our email address is duchesselections@dutchessny.gov. And the main line is 845-486-2473. And any voter that has any question about where they go to vote, who's on their ballot, etc., we'd be more than happy to provide that information.
Now, on this election on August 23rd, are there any, is there anything else being voted on besides the people for Congress?
There are also Senate primaries that day. And again, it would depend on, what party you're in and where you live as to whether you're eligible to vote in a Senate primary or not. So that would be something that you would ask us, email us, or you would look for on your sample ballot.
And those primaries are for town positions?
No, they're for
County
state
position?
Senate.
The state Senate?
State Senate. Yep, the local primaries were held in June.
Okay.
Eric, what congressional districts are in Dutchess County?
So the last adopted plan, we were in the 18th and the 19th. The 18th and the 19th cut across Dutchess County in several towns. Moving forward on the new maps, the new maps that were adopted effective January 1st, 2023, which we'll be voting on in November this year, will be the 17th congressional district and the 18th congressional district. The 19th congressional district shifted north out of Dutchess and starts in Columbia and Ulster.
Thank you.
All right. You want to continue on with what you were going to do?
Sure. So I know this is confusing, but there's an excellent resource that shows all the maps of these various congressional districts, Senate district, assembly districts. Actually, I can put it in the chat. And it's latfor.state.ny.us. LAT4 is the New York State Legislative Task Force on Demographic Research and Reapportionment. They by far, of any of the websites available, whether it be the press or any county website, this website is by far the best resources, has the best resources for maps, and you can drill down right to the town level to see exactly where you are, what district you were in, what district you will be in, and that will also help you find your sample ballot. Now, there's no other referendums or anything on this special election ballot or primary ballot, just candidates. So there's no referendums on the back of the ballot to be looking for or concerned about.
Good. And that will also show me who my local legislators are to the Dutchess County government.
The Dutchess County Board of Elections website has a list of your elected officials.
But where I vote, since I believe that has moved somewhat too.
We do have a poll site lookup function on our website. There's also a poll site locator on the State Board of Elections website, or you can call. We'd be happy to, or email, we'd be happy to share that with you. That's probably a good 50% of our phone calls on the leading up to the election, is people wanting to know where they vote, whether it be early voting, because there's limited number of sites for early voting, and then most of the poll sites are open on election day. And then you can also vote by absentee if you wish. They have drastically loosened the qualifications to vote by absentee. Essentially, they made the COVID rules permanent. And if you're out of the county on election day, or if you are afraid of getting COVID or any other illness, monkeypox, whatever other crazy thing is going on right now, you are eligible for an absentee ballot, which you can apply for through a paper application, or the state board website has a portal where you can electronically apply for an absentee ballot. And we usually get those out the following day. So if you apply today, August 3rd, your ballot will be in the mail tomorrow, August 4th. Keep in mind, though, if you want to be eligible for an absentee ballot, you have to request that 14 days or more before the election. Limitations with the Postal Service They changed the law so that you can't apply too close to the election because the likelihood of you getting your ballot on time is drastically diminished. But there's certainly plenty of opportunities to vote through the 9 days of early voting, through absentee voting, and New York is the longest election day in the country, from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Many opportunities to vote.
Mhm. Patty, do you have any other questions?
No, you can, do you want to go on to the November election?
Eric is here. Can we talk about now the November
Sure.
election?
Sure. Similar to the primaries and the special elections, the general election will have a period of early voting as well. I can give you those dates. So election day is on November 8th. And then the last day of early voting is November 6th. And then the first day of early voting is October 29th. So for the November election, again, you can vote by absentee. You can start voting on the 29th, only once, and then you can vote early until November 6th, no voting on November 7th, and then the traditional election day is on the 8th, again, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Every poll site will be open. So your traditional poll site, there might be some changes due to some new laws. So again, you can always call, but the poll site locator on the website is a good function both on the county website and the state website.
Are there any special ballots on that one, on the back of that?
There's so far one referendum on the back of the ballot. The language has not been finalized yet by the state board, but it pertains to environmental protections. So it's, clean air, clean water, something along those lines. I have not seen the language yet. It's not been approved, but it's an environmental related referendum. There are some local referendums, library budgets, things along those lines. East Fishkill has a referendum to extend the terms for certain offices to 4 years from 2 years. All those referendums are due to the Board of Elections by August 8th. So we won't have a final list until then, but everyone should always check the back of their ballot for any referendums. And they will also be on the sample ballot. So you can read those ahead of time from the county website.
Anything else we should know?
Just encourage everybody to vote. Every Board of Elections in the state puts a lot of time, effort, and resources into setting it up so that everybody can vote, but not often do we get everybody, certainly in the non-presidential years. So listen, we make it as easy and as convenient as possible for folks to vote, and we want people to take advantage of that right.
Well, Eric, thank you very much. We really appreciate what you've given us, and hopefully all our members will get out there and vote and be calling you shortly for help.
Yeah,
Ken.
I'm here all by myself answering the phone. So, give me something to do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you, Eric.